Will Peter Parker be able to gather the courage necessary to save the worst person he knows? Well, let's hop into the pages of Amazing Spider-Man: The Sins of Norman Osborn, issue number 1, and find out together, shall we? So then, this special one-shot actually takes place directly after the last Spider-Man issue came to a close. The Order of the Web, made up of some of the other major Spider characters throughout the Marvel Universe, have all been united under the current Madam Web, aka Julie Carpenter. In a nice bit of lampshade hanging and attention to detail, Jessica Drew is quick to bring up, we're not really a team, we're not really a family of characters, the only thing we have in common is our taste in costuming. And when all of New York Spider folk do come together, it's usually because they're being hunted by crazy Russians or extra-dimensional aristocrats. As Madam Web explains, this is indeed one of those totemic spider web of the universe related situations that's brought them all here and now. In fact, you'll recall a few issues back when Peter was having nightmares that turned out to be premonitions involving Overdrive and Kindred. Well, it turns out he's not the only one who was having those dreams. All of the spider people did, but theirs were a lot more gruesome and a lot more different. You see, each one of these spider people dreamed Peter's death. Now, each dream played out a little differently and related to the individual spider person. Like Ghost Spider imagines Peter meeting his end on the bridge, similar to Gwen, Miles imagines him dying in Brooklyn, and Silk imagines him dying at Empire University. But the one thing these dreams all had in common, though, was the killer, none other than Norman Osborn, or at least someone who looked a lot like the Green Goblin. That's why Madam Web and the others have now taken it to mean that the Web of Life is literally screaming out to them to save their champion, to save Spider-Man. The only problem is, Spider-Man doesn't want to save himself. As is befitting his character, Spider-Man cannot sit on the sidelines while someone, even a bad person like Norman, could possibly get hurt. After all, is that not the point of Spider-Man? He has the power to do something, which means he also has the responsibility to see it through to the end, even when that person is Norman. Spider-Man does manage to get Norman away from the rampaging Sin Eater cultist, but Norman, of course, has other games in mind. He slowly but surely keeps trying to slink away to find his trump card. And because he knows full well Norman won't leave without it, and if the Green Goblin thinks it's important, Spider-Man should probably see what it is for himself, Spidey decides to accompany Norman on his quest through Ravencroft Asylum. While outside, we see Stanley Carter and the Sin Eaters continue to make their way through the asylum themselves, and oh look, it seems that Sin Eater has himself a brand new power now. Though the way in which he came to it is rather interesting. You'll recall a few issues back, a hooded individual had come to the Sin Eater actually looking to be cleansed. That person turned out to be Martin Lee, aka Mr. Negative, who wanted to be absolved of the sins of his evil persona. Naturally, Sin Eater obliged. In fact, he took this meeting as some sort of sign from Kindred, the person who rescued his soul from hell and then seemingly stopped talking to him. With the power of Mr. Negative on his side, Sin Eater can start twisting the guards of Ravencroft Asylum to also serve his means. Norman eventually leads Peter to his secret laboratory, which, get this, was hidden inside his original cell back when he was a patient in the asylum. This guy does have a twisted sense of nostalgia, doesn't he? It's here Norman thinks he has just the thing to turn the tide in the battle and help save both himself and Spider-Man from the Sin Eater cultists. The only problem is Dr. Kafka, well, technically Dr. Kafka's clone, but that's really complicated, beat Norman to his ace in the hole. You see, deep in the bowels of Ravencroft Asylum, they had been keeping Cain Marko, aka the unstoppable Juggernaut. Norman had hoped if he could somehow turn Marko to his side, or at the very least let the Juggernaut loose, then he could just stroll out, but Sin Eater beat him to the punch on this one, meaning that on top of all the other powers he's stolen from the Lethal Legion and Mr. Negative, Stanley Carter the Sin Eater is now 100% unstoppable. Great. It's back with the other Spider people. We see them in pretty much the same position they were at the end of the last Amazing Spider-Man story. They're swinging into action, ready to try and save Peter from himself. It's along the way, though, Miles mentions, hey, if this is so important, can't we just tell Spider-Man what's going on and that his life is in danger? Unfortunately, though, this is one of those the web works in mysterious way types of situations, and that if fate or the universe or destiny or what have you has pushed Peter to this moment, it's because he needs to make the important choices for himself. Oh, but that's not the worst part. You see, Madam Web never actually mentioned the nightmare she had. In her vision, Peter still very much dies, only it's Kindred who did the killing. And it unfortunately seems like her version of events may very well end up coming to pass after all, as with their backs against the wall, call Spider-Man and the Green Goblin, two people who hate each other more than just about anything in the world, decide that if they're ever going to escape the Sin Eater, they're going to have to team up. And so that was Amazing Spider-Man: The Sins of Norman Osborn, issue number 1, and I gotta say, I'm really loving these special extra-length one-shots from Nick Spencer. They do a great job filling in the story, and in this case, I think offering up a pretty damn interesting scenario for the next Spider-Man arc. It's basically Peter versus all of his friends with his own life on the line. I stand by what I said, too, about this whole Sins Rising arc is really Nick Spencer starting to realize his potential as a Spider-Man writer and kick this whole Kindred thing into overdrive, while also utilizing a lot of stuff from Spider-Man's greater mythos like the Life Web, the other Spider-Man characters, Ravencroft Asylum, Dr. Kafka, etc., etc. Overall, I think I'd feel comfortable giving this one an 8.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed this one, and I'm more excited to read Spider-Man now than I've been in, well, a long time, I think. Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel again, thanking you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not check out my Amazon link down in the description. Yes, that's right, the Cape Joel channel officially has its own Amazon storefront now. You can pick up a comic or anything else for that matter, and if you did, you'd really be helping me in the channel. So with that out of the way everyone, I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.